Oh, hey there. Didn't see ya. My name is Caleb, and this is my van. I owned this for about 3 years now, 4 years. It's a 1982 Volkswagen Vanagon. It's a diesel, and they only made the diesel for about 2 years. It's a 1.6 liter engine, really small, pretty slow, but really easy to work on, and it's great gas mileage. Love this thing. And I have wanted to do a video of me working on it, doing something, so I was thinking today I could show you how I do a oil change, as well as a air filter replacement and a oil filter replacement. Now, I'm not a professional mechanic by any means, and as you know, this is a woodworking channel. This is my second son woodworks woodworking channel, but I figure this might be useful for some of you folks out there who like to work on your cars like you like to work in the shop, do the kind of DIY things. So hopefully this will be helpful. Take everything with a grain of salt, because like I said, I am not a professional, but changing oil is actually pretty dang easy, and you could do it on most cars. The newer cars are a little bit more tricky, but if you've got an older car, it's really straightforward. So yeah, hope you find this helpful. Changing your own oil is a great way to save some money. If you're, trying to not pay somebody to change your oil, and/or if you like to work on engines, it's a great way to spend some time getting to know your engine, which is, I think, a good idea, especially if you're driving an old car like this. I've had this van break down on me a number of times, and knowing what to do and kind of knowing how the engine functions is so helpful to be able to figure out what to do in those circumstances. I have this Volkswagen Vanagon official repair factory repair manual that I got with the van when I bought it. It includes sections on the diesel. So yeah, I picked up a lot of information from this on how to change the oil, as well as watching other videos, reading different articles on the internet. I got a few buddies here in town who also have VWs. They have been so helpful. And yeah, just reading kind of different articles on how an engine works has been so helpful. So yeah, hope this video is helpful. Like I said, changing an oil on an engine is pretty straightforward. You want to get rid of the old oil and then fill it up with new oil. So now I understand that this is my woodworking channel, Second Son Woodworks, but I figured a lot of those DIYers out there like myself might find a video like this helpful. And also, this was one of the earliest projects I did when I started getting serious about woodworking. I replaced the floors in here and the cabinets, put in this stove and sink, this little table right here. Did the storage bin that's under here that's got a lot of great space for tools and whatnot. And yeah, I've always kind of felt like I should show it off. It's not the best work I've ever done. It definitely was early on. You can see, a lot of this is pretty DIY-like, but it's worked so well for me as a camp mobile. I take this thing out camping all the time, and really love taking it surfing, taking it to the beach here in Santa Barbara. So yeah, thanks for tuning into Second Son Woodworks. So like I said, I've gotten a lot of information from this Volkswagen factory repair manual, but I've also picked up a whole lot of tips from friends, from the internet, from YouTube, to learn how to change the oil on this van. I'll put a few different website links down below for websites such as like Van Cafe that I use on a regular basis to learn different things about Volkswagens in particular. One of the websites that I will link below gives the capacity for oil in this 1982 Volkswagen diesel 1.6 liter. It's about 4.8, or it is 4.8 quarts of oil to be exact. This process is pretty simple. It starts with removing the drain plug underneath the engine, letting the oil engine drain out, and then you replace the oil filter, the air filter, and then replace the drain plug. If you have a new one, that's great, and then refill it with engine oil. Like I said before, I am not a professional, so take everything I say today with a grain of salt, but it's worked out for me. Alright guys, let's get started. So the first step in this process is to get to the engine compartment, which is in the back of the van. So that means you got to remove all the stuff you got stored. Once you have removed the engine hood, my number one rule when working on an engine is to always disconnect the positive cable to the battery so that you don't get electrocuted. After that, place the oil drip pan underneath the drain plug, located usually on the underside of an engine. Then roll up under there. If you have a creeper, it's super helpful. And unscrew the drain plug and let all of the oil, the old oil, drain out of the engine. And this will take a little bit of time depending on the capacity of your engine. Because this takes a bit of time for the engine oil to completely drain out of the engine, I usually use this time to go ahead and change the oil filter and the air filter. Replacing the air filter is super easy. You just undo these latches that are on the side of this plastic container that contains the actual air filter. This is the air intake into the engine, and then you wiggle it out and then replace the air filter. You'll see here in a second that the air filter that I am replacing is really dirty, but it's because these diesels burn pretty hot, and you can see on the side of the engine compartment itself it's quite dirty. It's pretty normal, especially for an old engine like this. Before actually replacing the air filter, I'm going to go ahead and move over to the oil filter, replace that, or at least take it out, and then I'll have the opportunity to kind of do some engine cleanup, use a little bit of brake fluid, parts cleaner, to spray down different parts of the engine where there is buildup of oil residue, including inside of the actual chamber that sucks in the air to the engine. Oh. If you don't have yourself one of these oil filter swivel wrenches, get yourself one. You're probably not going to be able to take the filter off by hand. Once I have removed the old oil filter, like I said, I go ahead and use this time to do some cleanup on the engine. Use a little bit of brake fluid parts cleaner to spray down old oil residue and wipe it up. Get it ready to install the new oil and air filters. And then from there I go ahead and install the new oil filter. At this point, I move back over to the air filter, do a little bit of cleanup with some brake parts fluid cleaner, as well as just some shop towels, and then I will eventually be installing the new air filter. I guess you could say this is installing. It's pretty simple. Huh. Funny story, one time I was cleaning the inside of this engine compartment like I'm doing right now, and I was using some of the brake parts fluid, the cleaner fluid, and you can see right there that I wiped off part of the yellow sticker that is on the inside of the van. Now that happened several years ago, and when I moved down to California, I was at the DMV, and they needed to see that sticker. Yeah, it was bad. Turns out I was at the DMV for about 6 hours, and I had to talk to a number of different people to try to get this worked out. This sticker has some of the emissions information. So be careful when you're wiping old engines down. After finishing up doing some wipe down of the engine like I was explaining earlier to clean up some old oil residue, I went ahead and took the oil plug and applied some plumber's tape so that when I replace it into the engine, it definitely seals and I won't be leaking any oil. This might not be something that a lot of people do, but it's worked out well for me. After that, I rolled back underneath the van and replaced the oil drain plug. After that, I used a funnel to place 4.8 quarts of 15W30 into the engine. That is the proper oil for this temperature. I then reattach the battery cables and fire up the engine. Alright folks, there you have it. This is how I changed the oil filter and the air filter on my 1982 Volkswagen Vanagon with a diesel 1.6 liter engine. I hope that this video is helpful to you. Like I said on earlier on in the video. This is pretty unusual for this channel, considering that I usually focus on woodworking DIY projects, but hey, a lot of us DIYers that are out there also do car stuff, or at least I do. So if you like this video, you should hit that like button, comment below if you have questions, or if you just want to throw out some cool VW stories, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I post new videos, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.